Hello everyone, welcome to Texture Myth. In this video, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to medical coding anatomy, where we will be mainly discussing about the serous membrane. So if you remember, in our last session we talked about the body cavities. We discussed each and every type of body cavity in detail, right? So now this session is in the continuation of the same, where we are going to mainly talk about the serous membrane. So what I'll do now, I'll simply firstly I'll walk you through the sessions, the definition. Okay, we will walk through the definitions and important pointers, and then we'll see some of the best interview questions as well as the tricks to remember all these things. Okay, but before we proceed further with these all things, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on serous membrane. But if you know about body cavities and other terminology that we have already learned, then things would be much more easier for you. Okay, so for that, what you can do, you can refer the Texture Myth digital course book, which is freely available in the description box, and there you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So from there you can switch to the medical coding tab, and then you can learn all the content about medical coding. And in case if there is any questions related to the content, you can simply reach out to me through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions there. Clear? Alright, so let's get started and see the definition for serous membrane. So serous membranes are a thin, smooth, double-layered membranes that lines the wall of the closed body cavities and cover the organs contained within those cavity. Okay, so basically it is just a thin, smooth, double-layer membrane which is lined against the wall of closed body cavities and covers the organ contained within those cavity. Okay. So in simple word, you can say that serous membrane are slippery, moist lining sheets found inside the ventral body cavities that reduce the friction, very important term, that reduce the friction between organs and the cavity wall. Okay, so serous membranes are mainly used to reduce the friction between the organs and the cavity walls, allowing organs to move freely during their normal function. Okay, so it also allows organs to move freely during their normal function. Serous membrane, a thin double-layered membrane lining closed body cavities and covering their organ, producing a lubricating fluid between its two layers. So this is the actual definition of serous membrane. So I think now this part is clear what is serous membrane. Now let's try to understand the importance of serous membrane. Like, what is the importance? Why we are learning this serous membrane? Okay, that is also very important to know. So here you can see I have noted down a couple of points that will help us to understand its importance. The first point says reduce friction. Yes. So organs like heart, lungs and intestine are constantly moving without lubricating. And this constant movement would cause painful friction between organs and cavity wall. Serous membrane produce fluid that eliminates this friction. Okay, so serous membrane is basically a fluid that eliminates the friction from these cavities and the organs like heart, lungs and intestine, which help them to move freely constantly without lubricating, because now the friction is reduced by the serous membrane. Second point says protect organs. Yes, definitely it protects the organ, because the membrane layer act as a physical barrier between the organs and the wall. So like it act as a physical barrier protecting organs from infection and injury. Third point says anchor organ. Yes, serous membrane help to hold the organs in their correct position within the body cavity. Okay, so it also help to hold those organ within a particular shape and position. Next point says allow organ movement. So because of the lubrication they provide, organ can expand, contract, beat and move without a restriction. And that is why we are saying that it allows the organ movement. Next point says compartmentalization, cavities. Serous membrane helps separate different organs and regions within the body cavity. So now you can understand like why it is so important, because it reduces the friction, it protect the organ, it anchor the organ, and it allow movement as well. Along with that, it is helping to compartmentalization of cavities. Okay, so these are the some important points that you can write during your exam and answer to explain what is serous membrane. Clear? Now let's see more thing about the serous membrane. The first is basic structure. Like what is the basic structure of all serous membrane? So every serous membrane has the same basic two-layer structure. The first is parietal layer and the second is visceral layer. So firstly we will talk about the layer 1, that is parietal layer. So parietal word comes from the Latin word paris, which means wall. So the parietal layer lines the inner wall of the body cavity. Okay, so it lines the inner wall of the body cavity. It is attached to the cavity wall, not to the organ itself. Okay, it is not attached to the organ itself. It is the outer layer of the serous membrane. Clear? Now the second layer is visceral layer. Visceral word comes from the Latin word that is viscera, meaning the internal organ. So the visceral layer covers the outer surface of the organ inside the cavity. So you can say that it is directly attached to the organ, not to the cavity wall. So you can see they both are opposite to each other. Okay, and it is the inner layer of the serous membrane. So sometime like they might ask you like what is the inner layer of the serous membrane? So you have to answer visceral layer. What is the outer layer of serous membrane? You have to answer parietal layer. Okay, likewise if you answer and explain the things properly, like it is connected to the inner wall of the body cavity, right? It is attached to the cavity wall, not to the organ itself. It is directly attached to the organ, not to the cavity wall. So likewise you can draw the parallels to explain your answer in detail. So I think layer part is clear. We discussed what is the serous membrane, and we also discussed why it is so important and the basic structure. Now we have learned so many things. Now it's time to understand the serous fluid and key concept. So what is serous fluid? So between the two layers, between the parietal and visceral layer is a very small potential space filled with the film of fluid called serous fluid. Okay, so there is a fluid between these layers. Serous fluid is clear, watery, lubricating fluid produced by both membrane layer. It is similar in composition to the blood plasma. Okay, so it is similar to the blood plasma. Its only purpose is lubrication to allow the two membranes layers slide smoothly over each other. The amount of serous fluid present in this is normally very small, just enough to create a thin lubricating film. Okay, so it is not too much fluid, it is just a small amount of fluid that is enough to create the thin lubricating film. Now there is one key concept that everyone should know. The first thing is serous membrane are closed membrane. Serous membranes only line closed body cavities that do not open to the outside of the body. This is an important distinction. Serous membrane line closed cavities, pleural, pericardial, peritoneal, right? So this is serous membrane. Then we have mucous membrane, that is line cavities and tubes that open to the outside of the body. Respiratory tract, digestive tract, urinary tract and reproductive tract. Clear? So I think till here we are good with it. Now let's talk about some memory tip, like how you will remember this concept. So think of serous membrane like a double walled water balloon. The outer wall of the balloon is parietal layer, lines of the cavity, and the inner wall of the balloon is visceral layer, covers the organ. The water between the two walls is serous fluid for lubrication. Okay, now we also have three types of serous membrane. We haven't discussed it in detail yet, but just keep it in mind. Okay, that we have three things: pleura, that is pulmonary lungs, pericardium, that is pumping organ heart, and peritoneum, that is packed with the abdominal organ. So these are the three things that we will be learning in the upcoming sessions in detail, because it needs more time. So for now we just know the name of it. In the upcoming session we will discuss it in detail. Now we have one thing, like all three starts with P, so easy to remember, like the 3 P's of the serous membrane, that is pleura, pericardium and peritoneum. Clear? So I think we are good with this session. Now there is one question for all of you. What is question is, cranial cavity is formed by how many bones? So you have to answer it in a very short way, like how many bones are utilized here. Okay, because this question I repeat in last session also, but I think students are not getting the answer of it. So I'm sure some of you who are watching this session, they know the answer. So please do share your knowledge in the comment section, so that those who want to learn from your expertise, they can simply refer the comment to learn more about the discussion. Okay, but please do make sure to share your answer, because these comments also instruct me that you guys are learning from these sessions, and accordingly, like, I publish more new sessions for this playlist. So as you share the comments, accordingly I will publish it. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today, and see you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching TechSharemit.